Hello, hello. Good afternoon, guys. This is Chris coming at you guys with a fight breakdown like I do every week. I wasn't here last week because I've been sorting through a lot of paperwork, trying to get some stuff in my personal life done. And I've just been really busy. This week, I wanted to make sure I got something out to you guys because I missed last week. And the topic of discussion so far has been Bradley Sinden, and he has taken down Daehoon in I think it was the semifinals. Daehoon, I watched a couple of his earlier matches. He's not as aggressive. My dad and I were talking. We feel like he's more towards looking at that Olympic gold medal since he's been to two already at the very least, and he has not yet secured that Olympic gold. So that might be where he's looking at. I'm sure this is really big on his list as well. May also be age. He did also get married. Any one of those factors. It's also just part of the game. I heard about Bradley's fight because one of our teammates had actually sparred Bradley, and I heard it was a close fight. It was a good fight, and then at the very end, there's he had this. Bradley has this amazing Gumby left leg and is able to rack up points really, really fast. So we're gonna be taking a look at Bradley's game today and go into that a little bit. Hopefully, you guys have all been well. Um, and yeah, let's break it down. Let's see what's going on here at the 2019 World Championships, which is actually happening now. You guys have to look up the hours. There's YouTube live streaming if you guys want to watch that stuff. Um, but yeah, they're starting to put out some videos, so I'm starting to catch on, see what I can. Anyway, so this is against Ketby. What what's interesting to me about Bradley's game, especially at this level, it's not like there's any gaping holes. I feel like Bradley succeeds a lot on the inside game, and his outside game is like it's not bad, but it's not as good as his inside game. A lot of times when you're coming up, you'll have like one strong area and like one completely terrible area. Bradley's at a point where it's really, really supreme area and there's like world championship level area here, and his outside game isn't like down here. It's just like it's almost there, but it's not quite as on top as the inside game. Um, and so we're gonna be looking at his game plan, what you can take away, what you guys can grab from it, and hopefully add it into your games. And if not, his skills, because part of Bradley's whole game is he has these tools that not a lot of whoops, wrong. Not a lot of people can use. He can shoot this leg from behind the shoulder. He can shoot it invertedly. He can it's go to the body. Do all sorts of things with the front leg in very very different ways. And maybe if it's not your guys' forte to do that, we can try and break down some of his decision making as well to maybe add that into your games as something you guys can practice. Offensive pressure. Once again, something I like to harp on, especially if you guys who are new and watching. You're going to see Bradley engage here every few seconds. Every couple of seconds, he's putting pressure on the opponent. Like 2 or 3 seconds, he's back on. Cancel. And so Bradley's doing here, it's kind of subtle. I'm sure some of you guys have seen this. But those of you who aren't, what he's trying to do is he understands that the first time he brings up his leg, it's probably going to clash with this leg. So they're actually jockeying for position in midair to try and get that point to flick out onto the chest guard right after. So the guys you don't see that, that's what's happening there. It's not like their legs are getting stuck. They're actually jockeying for position, for a better leg position to try and get the foot on the hoku. He's Notice how he got him when they're in the middle, he didn't press him as much, but as soon as this guy backed up to the edge, he's on him. Um, there's that crazy, crazy leg, man. So from this angle, sets it up. So, does he have the best arm position right here? No, not really. In general, you want to be the one who's underneath, so you can control the guy like that. But given that that's the situation, and given that he can throw his leg however he wants, he uses that situation to his advantage, gets that leg and wraps it all the way around. Now, how do you defend against that? I've been a proponent about this for a long time because this is how I block China doing that same kind of maneuver where they're getting their leg wrapped around behind your helmet. You need to get this arm free and do like an MMA style block, and it's going to be at different angles. It's going to look like this, but you pretty much just want to cover the whole general. It's hard for me to show you with a webcam there, but you want to get your hand and arm to cover as much helmet as you can to prevent the sensor from hitting the helmet. and that's the only defense I can think of. It's been effective for me, and it's not very traditional Taekwondo wise, but that's what's worked for me. Maybe it'll work for you guys, especially if you're fighting against someone who has those Gumby legs. He does, just so you guys know, he does end up gapping this guy. It's 10 minutes because of a lot of technical issues. So very good of Ketby to try and get underneath and trying to draw it. Ooh, calling the holding. They're getting stricter on that, so watch for that, guys. Getting stricter on the holding calls or at least hand position. Another wrap. This is very interesting to look at. I want to look at the distance he's throwing this from, because usually to wrap it, you need to be really close to your opponent. Tries for the spin, in close. Ooh, interesting too. I didn't notice that the first time. Notice, notice GBR's hand position here. What he's doing with the guy's elbow. I'll play it like even slower. He has full control of his arm. So there's no way this arm's going to come back to reach back and defend. The only thing that he could do is if he's somehow able to reach this hand and volley it to the other side like that. And that's a lot. It's the defense against or trying to like block the sensors from this side when the legs come in from this side is not as good as obviously as blocking with this hand where the foot will run into the arm or some other part before making contact with headgear. So once again, you can see his arm here taking control of the guy's other arm before he launches that leg all the way around. Blue's doing a good job. He feels that and he gets his head forward, so Bradley has to reach even further. Bradley takes the falling warning and doesn't actually get the point, but very smart and clever. It's like I'm done. I watch a lot of PUBG stuff because that's my hobby. Nice try by Blue. I have to look into this, man, because I'm not sure if this ref is just really strict or if there's some new grabbing rule that's happening. Because all this stuff looked like it was fine last year. So we're gonna have to look into that, maybe get the official breakdown from other people to define what grabbing is now, because it's very interesting. So not even a minute has passed by, lots of action. Bradley, after getting the gum jong beyond the edge, is immediately going on the offensive. You can see he's drilled his opponent to the other side of the ring already. Maintain the offensive pressure, guys. Keep maintaining the offensive pressure. I think there's a little bit of home court advantage over here because it looked like when Blue was pushing red over here, I think Egypt, I'm not sure. And he's pushing him over here on the edge, holding call almost immediately. We can see Bradley coming in right here. Right after this, Bradley Sinden, and he looks like he is very much manhandling Ketby, and there is no holding call. But World Championships is in Manchester. Every so often, you're going to get that kind of play. Use it. I guess you can use it when you can. So just watch for that. Bradley is so wow. So I don't know if okay. We're gonna watch this one more time. Slow motion. I'm looking specifically at what Bradley's doing to this guy's right arm. How he's using his left arm to pin the right arm, so it's harder for him to defend against that out in left leg. He didn't really do much that time. I wouldn't be surprised if he was squeezing this arm downwards or in the clinch, so that way it's harder for him to get his arm out for when he launches this left leg. It's his arm is pinned, so he can't defend on this side if it's pinned, obviously. So if Bradley's actively doing that, man, that's a lot of practice. That's a lot of knowing where your main weapon is and making plays for it. So let's say you don't have that kick. How do you apply this principle to your sparring? You apply this by thinking about what your main weapon is and thinking of different ways to set up where you can use that weapon. Or how do you lower your opponent's defenses to get that weapon in? A lot of good players do this. Obviously, they set up a lot of situations where they can win. So think of the situation that needs to happen for you to win and try and recreate that as often as possible. It sounds obvious. Oh, very nice. Very nice deep attack by Blue. And immediate retaliation here. Let's shoot it back. Got it. Good. So if I were blue now, I know he's trying to jockey for position here underneath, so that way he's close. But given that this leg is so flexible, I would be actively now keeping this arm trying to be free from any manipulation by his arm to make sure I can block or attempt to block this um, piece of bubble gum that keeps flying out at you. So, yeah, if I were blue, I'd be switching it up to make sure this arm is free, to make sure this hand is constantly able to defend. Um, but it's difficult. It's very difficult because if you're blocking to the head and you're focused, Sinden's able to kick invertedly and normally to the trunk. See, like right there. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was an inverted, like a reverse. There's no official name for this kick yet, I don't think. Everyone calls it something kind of different. The inverted, we call it an inverted kick or reverse kick. He's in. He shot his foot sideways. Watch that like one more time. Yeah, you can see it like hooking really backwards. So this guy's left leg out of this world, man. And another grabbing call. And the negate points. Wow. That is some interesting calls. I mean, I think that Bradley's in control of this fight. You know what I mean? I feel like Bradley's winning this fight. But I don't know about these calls. Let's see what the official ruling is. Still talking about it. Oh, decision was made. And they lost the card. Interesting. So that means when they put up the X for people who don't know yet, that means the video replay, whatever the coach requested, was denied. And if your request gets denied, you lose your video replay card. So that way you're not taking up the whole time just spamming video replays to give your player a rest. So very interesting. I think there's probably an update to the rules that I'm not aware of yet. We'll have to look into that. But yeah. So Bradley, overall gameplay, high pressure on the opponent. What we've seen so far this first minute, high pressure on the opponent with the left leg from outside. If they cancel you, jockey for position and try and flick afterwards. And usually you end in another stance. He goes right on the offense to cut you out of distance. Why the reason he wants to cut you out of distance? Because he wants to get you in close to use that dynamic left leg to the head, or that inverted kick, or the regular round kick or the regular kick to the body. So it's a lot of just handling what quote unquote a weakness might be, which is fighting from range. He handles that by canceling and then jockeying for position, trying to score on you here, and then taking away while simultaneously taking away your ring space. And when he does those, eventually you're gonna have to fight him on the inside, and that's where he really shines with these behind the head out in crescent kicks. Right away on the offense. So he tries to score sometimes, but he's not too committed to trying to score from the outside. It's like after he gets canceled, no biggie. He resets and then he goes again. He goes in again. I think he's gonna probably maybe try to force out unless the guy clinches. Okay, well now he's in the clinch, trying for that. That one was actually a good call for kicking low. Good of blue to try and bring it to him. Another holding? Another holding call. Wow. How fascinating. They're in the clinch. I would not like I said, I would not jockey for this position anymore. Usually, if you're getting shoved, if you want to lock it down, that's the way you want to go. This is a special case scenario with a special leg here. You don't want to volley for that anymore. Nice punch. And there's that inverted kick again. Bradley seems to have a weakness against people who like to cut strong against him. He didn't really seem to have too much of a defense going this way. He got caught with a head kick going back this way, and going back that way. It doesn't really seem like he has too much counter. He's more of a, I'll just wait till you put your foot down and then I'll have my turn. Grabbing. Okay. A lot of interesting calls being made here. What happened here? Okay. Ketby's okay. Interesting. Good job of Ketby to go on the offense there. Another replay. Taking away 2 points from blue for another call. Okay. Bradley straight back on the offense. He needs to get in on there. Okay, well, that was actually a fair call. Bradley knows the round's over. Time to rest. Oh, too far. Nice try. That was okay. So if that was good of blue to try and go on the offense right away, because it seems like that's where Bradley doesn't really have too much defense. Good decision. Not bad. They have to watch for here when you get in the clinch. You got to start. So how would you counter this? Well, one, you can try and defensively block the head, but you're also that's being very what's it called? That's being very reactive. Something else you might think about doing is if you kick with your right leg first, it occupies a space on this side, so it's harder for that leg to come up. So something you could do is instead of trying to shut it down, is actively just keep pounding that right leg to try and occupy or at least jam this leg from coming up. Um, and that's another possible way to counter a kick that you for some reason can't stop or block, is to occupy the space the kick occupies first. Like if this leg is up here, it's going to be really hard for Bradley to wrap around that leg plus the shoulder plus reach around to the back of your head. Or worst case scenario, you're gonna be kicking on this side. Bradley's gonna do his inverted kick, and it might be a 2 for 2. Um, so if this constantly happens to you, think about trying to occupy where the person's kicking first. If you're getting caught with a fast kick first, maybe you should try fast kicking, counter that side, like on the opposite side, so that way you're occupying the space a fast kick would occupy. And so that's something that might work. Then again, I'm not in this situation. This is easy for me to like theorize and break down, but that's something to think about as well. Generally, in my experience, if I was dealing with someone with a really strong front leg, I would just throw my front leg first and kind of purposely leave it there for half a second. So that way, if they clash or whatever, like that space is occupied, that leg's not coming up. Now I can follow up on something else because the main threat is no longer a threat. So that's another thing you can do besides just trying to volley for arm position here and block for your head, is to occupy the space first with a kick, with your own kick, and like do it continuously just to make sure this leg is shut down. This is also very tricky. Watch this arm wrap. I remember I saw this the first time. I was kind of like, ugh. How interesting. Boom. I think I rewound it too far. Look at Sinden's arm. It is fully wrapped around Blue's arm here. It's like fully wrapped. So this arm, there's no way this arm is getting out to defend it, to defend the head here. There's no way. And so Bradley uses the opportunity. I think he scores 2 head kicks here. That's 6 points. He was only down by 7 in the beginning of the round, or 8. Was it 8? Yeah, so he's down by 8. After this exchange, I think he's down by 16. Yeah, he's down by 8, and then he gets a 2 from the body, and then I can't even math properly. Yeah, he gets the 2 head kicks and the 1 body shot. Immediately down by another 8 points, and so he's down by a total of 16. 2 more body shots, and this guy's like out. Wow, very strong. So I don't know what Kedby's weapons are. I would try and throw a little bit more right leg just to occupy the space, so this left leg stops coming out as often, and Bradley can't use it as often as he wants to. There's sometimes where you want to set up your weapons where which like where do you succeed the most. But there are times where the guy's weapon is really good, so your first objective isn't to set up your weapon. Your first objective is to take away his best weapon, and then you can use your weapons. And so this is a situation where I think that would be applicable if he used his right leg for offense a little bit more often. I'm not sure if he has one or if he's trained it or what his game plan is, but it seems very apparent that this is the main weapon and Bradley's not afraid to use it and continuously use it because you haven't come up with a defense. So if you use this leg more often, it's going to occupy the space that this leg uses and he can't use it as often. Out of bounds. Okay. Nice try. Nice try. Right leg. Right leg. Going tick for tack. Not bad. It's another video replay for like a long time. Bradley eventually just forces him out for disqualification. Actually, he's ahead by a lot of points. He only needs one more body shot to take this guy out. Credit to Blue. He's still fighting. Still force. He's still what's it called? Still trying to get points despite being this far down. And Bradley's game plan so far has been the same. I mean, now he's trying other things now because I mean he's so securely in the lead. He can afford to attempt other things. That was interesting. Did he just call for kicking underneath? Oh no, it's for grabbing. Okay. Um, so Bradley game plan has been the same this whole time. Occupy from distance, kind of occupy the front leg, jockey for points. If you can't get it, no biggie. Reset the match, redo that, and we're gonna get all of our points on the inside. And it's not only with this guy. I watched his previous fight, which he also did the same thing, and it's just the same Gumby leg from the inside that's really hard to defend. Um, I want to watch this fight versus Daehoon. I haven't seen it yet. I've just seen the reportings. I want to see how Daehoon handles this, or if Daehoon just also caught off guard like these guys. Um, but yeah, so overall, the game plan from the outside is jockey for position, get on the inside, use that left leg crescent. Also he has very intelligent use of his arms too. He doesn't grab because grabbing with your fist isn't allowed. He uses arm and manipulates it in situations where the other guy can't use his arm to defend himself. So very smart use by Bradley there. And yeah, anything else to counter that stuff? Well, I'd like to see someone try the like MMA blocking. It's hard to do. I don't really fight anymore, so that would be interesting to see. Also, if someone's leg is really in your face about it, just occupy the space first. Try and Bradley was having a hard time over here when he was shooting his right leg a lot more often because he couldn't shoot his left. And yeah, that'll wrap it up, guys. Just keep watching the World Championships, please. A lot of good fights are coming out. I heard there's this Korean fighter who's also fighting today who's gapped everyone in his division. He's over the course of 4 fights, he's accumulated over 200 points. So it's an average of over 50 points a round. I'm excited to see that guy's tapes. Please give some support over there. But that'll be it for this week, guys. Take it easy. See you guys next week, and let's see what happens.